Hello once again, my friends. It is time for another chapter, another installment of the Squirrel Beard saga. The last one was icky. Yeah, I hope you're alright. Especially you, OP. I hope you're okay. So, once again, this is from Emerald Aussie. This is part 5. A Tale of a Million Red Flags. Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a squirrely beard, that started back in high school and grew to a toxic affair. For real, everyone, I hope you're liking these stories. I mean, they're definitely interesting. I really tried to flesh out part 4 more, and I hope it worked better. Coming up, we'll have a lot of spotty memories and events that I simply don't remember how old I was when they occurred, but I have a basic memory of the order and events that they happened in. I'll do my best. I do appreciate the comments. Sorry if I don't seem like it. I still have trouble accepting compliments or positive feedback. I do appreciate the support. I mean, what you have gone through, especially considering how long ago it was, is one of those things that I don't blame you for not remembering stuff. I mean, fuck, dude, I don't remember things well. And they probably happened a month ago. It's probably a bad sign, isn't it? No, well, it doesn't matter. Point is that I totally get it that sometimes this isn't really a thing, and sometimes there's some issues going on. So, don't worry about it, and just tell your story in the way that you can. Also, this is a completely aside, it has nothing to do with the content of the story that you're doing. I really like your writing style. You actually have a really good grasp of this, and I appreciate that. As I said in the last part, Beetle had just found out that Ultrabeard was with child. The phrase Ultrabeard was with child makes me deeply uncomfortable. With his child. And they had just broken up a week prior. Now, I was annoyed because I had warned Beetle to practice the safe sex. He did not listen. He never listens to me, even still. Not to say that I wasn't also concerned and eager to be there for him, however I could, but I digress. The worst part was that he was 23 and in no way ready to be a parent. It was also by this point that he was starting to see the crazy that I saw in UB, and he was back with Cowgirl. Technically, he was back with Cowgirl just before he broke up with UB, and I never condoned this, but our 20s were our 20s. Mistakes are made by all. Yeah, it's very true. It's one of the many reasons why I try not to assign too much blame to people who do bad shit in their teens and sometimes into their early 20s, because everybody is stupid at that age. It's like a rule. The first thing I asked Beetle when he called me is if he was going to reconcile with UB. He said no, and I was relieved. The next thing I asked was about custody. He was seeking full and sole custody. Considering UB's home environment, that was not going to be hard. Beetle had just gotten his own apartment for the first time. I could tell he was dealing with a lot, so the first chance I had, I went to another state and spent a few days with him. I spent what money I could to help him out with his apartment. I got him a TV antenna and some other things to try and make it as comfortable as I could. I also went with him for the first sonogram of his child. I got to see the little tadpole. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was looking at my little girl's first sonogram. Yeah, she's my daughter now too. I have since adopted her. Aw, that's adorable. I really wanted to stay in another state and be there for Beetle, but I eventually had to go home and get back to my life. Around this time, a lot of changes were happening in my family dynamic. For one, I had my dad's biological son move in. We call him brother, so I so badly wanted to call him Brother Beard, but I love my big brother, and he's only on the cusp of being a beard. He has somehow managed to narrowly avoid actually fitting into that category. Well, it is as we've always said, it's not the fedora they wear, it's the fedora they exude. I'd only met brother a few times before this. He grew up with his mother and was 7 years older than me. He'd gone into the Air Force after high school, and now that he was out, he was lacking direction. Dad offered to let him come move in with us and go to college with me, so for the first time in my life, I had a big brother. There were definitely some growing pains as I adjusted to this. It was hard to be a little sister. It was also just for a brief amount of time. Brother's program wasn't a long one, and soon enough he moved to Capital City. This is very important for a detail later. Meanwhile, I would still visit my biological father, but it almost always ended in disaster. One day, BF told me to go make him a sandwich. I'm sorry, is this man a fucking walking stereotype? I refused and told him that he had legs and hands that worked just fine. Stepmonster pulled me aside later and scolded me for talking that way in front of her daughters because she didn't want them thinking it was okay to tell a man no like that. It is absolutely okay to tell a man no like that, because if you're incapable of basically feeding yourself, you have a lot more problems. And if you're just too fucking lazy to do it, bruh, seriously. Seriously. Another time, one of the daughters, the older of the two, that was in middle school at the time, created a pentagram of cotton balls on her carpet and set fire to it. I got blamed. I didn't live there, nor had I ever done anything remotely like that, or even thought of it, honestly, because it was really dumb. But I still got blamed. I was accused of making her daughters Satan worshippers like I was. Fucking what? Ah, yes. The best form of expressing your satanic love. Cotton ball pentagrams. Satan loves nail polish remover, what can I say? Stepmonster, I'm pagan. Satan is a Christian deity. I'm not a Christian, thus I don't believe Satan exists. How can I worship something I don't believe exists? A very good point. I know how that witch stuff works. I know all about these things. I watched Charmed. Oh! Oh, she watches Charmed! Oh, she's got us all figured out! Oh, golly gee! Oh, lordy. I had to fight back my laughter. I so wanted to say, oh, I've watched ER scrub me in for surgery. You should have. But I didn't. I just nodded and left. So after that, I pretty much tried to keep my distance from BF and his house even more than before. I mean, totally understandable. She might find out about your friend Angel. Sorry. I fucking had to. Woo! Lordy. Meanwhile, I was still going to Cityville to see Squirrelbeard every chance that I could. By this time, he had introduced me to Foamy the Squirrel cartoon. Oh dear God, I just had flashbacks. And I had become well acquainted with all of his vast amounts of squirrely decor. This man's a closet furry, isn't he? Did you check the closet for a fursuit? Did you find the 6-foot squirrel? There's got to be a 6-foot squirrel. Does he have one of those little things? It's a plush thing, but it's not actually a plush thing, if you know what I mean. There's a little addition to that, isn't it? It's large enough for, let's just say, handling. Did you find that? I bet you did. I bet you did. Did I just enlighten you in a way that I totally shouldn't have? Yup. Hi. My name's Moonhorse. I'm ruining your brain tonight. I'd accepted his title as Lord of the Squirrels, and although I found the obsession weird, I overlooked it because love. I was so ready to have sex at this point that I really wanted my first to be SB because, again, totally in love. In the meantime, I did whatever he was willing to do and just sort of went with it. He had finally agreed to do it the next time I went to see him, and I thought I was ready for anything. How wrong I was. Oh boy. I got in a hotel and made sure I had condoms on hand. I was also on birth control. I did not want to end up in the same spot that Beetle was in. Understandable. I was pretty sure there wasn't much more I could do. When Squirrel got there, I had barely said hi before he slammed the door behind him and pushed me against the wall and started kissing/undressing me. Oh, well, isn't he just fucking classy? I'll spare you the details, except to say we did finally end up having sex. Are you okay? I asked him after we were done. Yeah, are you? Yeah, glad to finally have my first time over with. Wait, that was your first time? I looked at him to see if he was joking or being serious. Did he really fucking forget that I had been a virgin? Yeah, it was. Oh. Okay, so maybe not joking. So what happens now? What do you mean? You know how I feel about you, obviously, but we still aren't official. I know, you live 6 hours away. Okay, but I'm almost done with school. What if I move here after I finish my degree? Maybe we could be official then. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Oh my god, this guy talks like a fucking weird poet. He reminds me of every fucking angsty weirdo I was in high school with. Just, ugh. I smiled, satisfied with that answer for the moment. A little while later, he told me he had to go home and couldn't stay the night. I forget his reasoning, but it had something to do with work. I was disappointed, but understood. He told me he'd pick me up the next morning and we'd go get breakfast. I agreed and bid him good night. The next morning, I get up, get dressed, waited for him to call or show up. He didn't. Around 10, I was getting worried, so I called his house. His parents answered, but he wasn't home. I thought maybe he was on his way. 11, still nothing. Tried the house again, still not home. Noon, not a peep, and he was scheduled to work at noon. So I tried his house one more time, not home. Finally, I tried his work at 1. He didn't show up to work. I knew all too well what this meant. He stood me up. He wasn't coming, and he basically ghosted me.
Wow, what an asshole.
To say I was heartbroken would be a massive understatement. I'd given my virginity to him, and he ghosted me. After 8 years of friendship, he just ghosted me. I wrote him a note telling him how much I loved him, but I was done and never to contact me again. I left it for him at the game shop. I packed up my car, checked out of my hotel 2 days early, headed to the nearest family I had, to Cityville, which at that point was brother in Capital City. I told him what was happening, and he was all too happy to let me crash at his place for a few days while I wrapped my mind around what just happened. I spent a couple of days wallowing in complete and utter heartbreak, and brother let me have that, and then he started trying to snap me out of it. He took me to strip clubs. I'm bisexual and quite enjoy a nice strip club. Can't say I've ever been to one, but everybody does their own thing. And shared his porn stash with me for me to take home. Interesting choice. It was what I needed to not focus on SB. 2 weeks later, when I was back at home and back in school, I finally got a message. I know you probably don't want to talk to me, but I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. I was dumbfounded that he would have the gall to reach out to me. You're alive! I was so worried. I said, trying to convey my sarcasm in text format. I deserve that. Can I explain? I wanted to say no. I should have said no. This is another spot in the story where I should have just let it be over. But that's not what I did. Oh no, dear reader. That's not what I did at all. Fine. I just freaked out. After I left the hotel, I drove around aimlessly for a while thinking. I thought about CB and I panicked. The next day I drove some more, just had to think and work through my panic. I should have told you. I'm sorry. I'm not CB. I know. Do you regret sleeping with me? No, I don't. It was my first time and you fucking abandoned me. You fucking abandoned me. I know, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I never want to see you again. You don't mean that. Yeah, I do. Of course, I didn't. Within a week, he had broken me down with his apologies and we're talking every day again. This time he kept the sex talk down, for a little while anyway, but he started having me on the phone with him while he was gaming. I would sit there for hours and listen to him play a game called World of Warcraft. Oh god, I know which one that is. I started to feel like I was second to this game. Let's be honest, I was further down on the list than 2, but yeah. This continued when I would visit him. Yes, I started visiting him again. Don't judge me. No, I totally understand. We're all dumb at some point in our lives, and I've been there. By this point, he had his own house. It was technically his parents' house. They moved out, but were renting it to SB and his 2 roommates. This meant no more hotels. I could finally sleep at his place again. Most of the time I was there, he would play WoW, and I would talk to Beetle, who, by this time, had a beautiful daughter that we'll call Wee One. It had not taken much for Beetle to get sole custody, given the state of UB's family and living situation, which was not fit for a baby in the least. It didn't help that UB did not seem to even care what happened to the Wee One. So, basically, Wee One was Beetle's child, and every once in a while UB would pop in for a visit when she felt like it. Quality, top-tier parenting. Yeah, she sounds great. It eventually got to a point that SB would tease me about being a WoW widow because of how much attention he gave to the game. What? Still not official, but he was talking like we were, when it suited him. It was also at this point that I should have seen how selfish he was. He'd call me over to give him a BJ in his gamer chair when he was done so he could go back to the game. Wow! Really? Wow, okay. Yeah, no, that's not fucked up at all. I finally got sick of this and had him show me how to play WoW so I could at least be involved in what he was doing. He agreed, and I rolled a mage. I ended up loving it, and to this day, WoW is actually the best thing SB ever brought into my life. I still roll a fire mage as my main. Both Beetle and Wee One play with me. It's become a family game for us. This just shows you where SB's priorities were. That is to say, SB's top priority was his own pleasure at any given moment. Which is fine unless you want people around you to care, and then you generally have to have an iota of caring about their well-being. Yeah. And just as I was starting to realize this, SB did something that should have raised all of the red flags, because he hadn't already. But instead, I took it as, oh my god, he really cares. Oh, I'm afraid to see what's going to come. I was pretty close to graduating college, but I was also struggling to the point I was considering quitting. I did great in my Photoshop class, as well as audio and video. Illustrator was a nightmare for me to pass. I vented this to SB one night during our nightly phone call. I can't do this. This class, I'm not going to pass it, so I won't graduate anyway.
You can't quit.
Well, why not?
Because you're so close to graduating.
I'm not going to be a graphic designer anyway. I did this for lack of anything better to do. I know what I want to do now. I want to be a teacher. Why bother finishing this?
Because you're close?
And
you can't just throw it away. You know how badly I wanted a degree and you're so fucking close?
It's my degree, not yours. You can't make me finish.
Stop being so fucking difficult. Don't be an idiot. Just finish your class.
It's my fucking choice. After living through being controlled by BF, I did not take kindly to being controlled anymore. Not even by SB. At least when it came to stuff like this. He screamed and hung up on me. We calmed down and were fine the next day. The next time I went to see him, he was playing WoW and I noticed his headphones were broken. What happened?
You.
I looked at him confused.
We were fighting about you finishing school. I was pretty pissed. I ended up breaking my headphones.
Red flag, abort, run away. Yeah, that's a bad one. But no. I'm sorry I made you mad.
I just care. I want the best for you.
I nodded. This was proof that he cared, right? Right? And this is where I'll leave you, dear reader. When we resume, we'll catch up on the time SB almost converted me to a good Christian wife. Oh, I will have many things to say about that one, won't I? As well as the real reason I hate UB with the burning fury of a million suns. Man, just when I think this motherfucker can't get worse, he keeps digging deeper, doesn't he? He just hits a new fucking level. Just a new level every single time. Yeah, wow. Just fucking wow. Like, the part that kills me is that he had to have known, that this was OP's first time. Like, because they've said that several times. Like, this conversation has happened before. Multiple times happened before. And he was just like, oh, well, you know. And I'm willing to bet the biggest thing, he keeps claiming a lot of this has to do with, you know, the ex and all this other stuff. He strikes me as the kind of guy who's just like, you know, commitment of any kind is not something he wants. He wants someone to do for him, but he wants to also have the option to just be like, push them away and then do whatever he wants. I seriously feel like that's a thing. I don't know how true that is, because I don't know the fucking guy. But, you know, in my mind, definitely think so. Definitely think that's where this is going. So, yeah, I'm actually gonna kind of cut pretty quick off of this one because I have to read the rest of them, and I really want to know what happens because this story keeps getting fucking wilder and wilder. So, thank you all for being a part of this. If you would, please like, comment, and subscribe. Mainly because YouTube hates that, and you should, because fuck YouTube, right? If you would like to support this channel, which I hope you do, I have a Ko-Fi and a merch store, and those are just awesome places, and they help keep the lights on in here. And if you would like to see these videos being recorded live, I do that every Monday night on my Twitch channel, as well as every weekend. My wonderful fiance and I do several kinds of streams. And, yeah, the links to all these things and so many more are below this in every video, so you should go check that out. I say this in every video as if I'm talking about every video on the channel, or rather on this platform. It's not. If I had that power, though, if I had that power, you know I would absolutely use it. Scroll down after watching a Markiplier video. Fucking Moonhorse links. Oh yeah. That's some level of evil, but I haven't decided what level yet. Mildly annoying? Mostly. Either way, thank you for being here. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.